We're going to pick up where we left off from last class. If you don't have a copy of this from last class, or if you lost yours, get a new copy from the sub. I'll leave them on the front table. Alright, so for example 3, we're going to use our calculator to fill out this table, but before we do that, we're going to label our A, B, H, and K. So working backwards, K is always what's added on or subtracted to the end. So we've got a negative 3 as K. We also have something in the exponent with X, and remember in standard form of, or in vertex form of a quadratic, H was a liar. H is also a liar here. So instead of a +4, H is actually the opposite. So we have an always opposite H. B is the base of our exponent, which is 2. And A is whatever is being multiplied by that base. So it's 1 in this case. So this -4 tells us we're going to shift left 4. And this -3 tells us we're going to go down 3. Okay, so instead of being centered at the origin like the rest of our graphs were, that centering is actually going to go down 3 and left 4. So that'll be the middle of it. So in your calculator, pull that up. We're going to type in our original equation under y equals. So y equals 2 raised 2, and make sure whatever is in the exponent is completely in the exponent. So we have x plus 4. I'll close my parentheses, and if your calculator makes it an exponent, arrow over so that way you're not in the exponent anymore, so you can do -3. So in the end, our graph should look like this. But we didn't care about the graph. We wanted the table filled out. So if you hit the second button and then graph, you'll see how in blue up there it says table. You need to arrow up until you find these values that the table wants. So at -6, our graph is at -2.75. -5, our y value is at -2.5, and so on. So go ahead and fill in those parts of our graph. We can get out of our calculator now. And then we're going to plot it. So -6, -2.75. So now our exponential graph is going, it's going to shift it over. This time it crosses that x-axis. And our calculator will kind of tell us our asymptote too. So as we get further and further towards -infinity, our table kind of levels out at -3. The calculator says it's at -3 because it's so stinking close that it rounds it to -3. -3 is actually our asymptote though. So remember, our asymptote is that horizontal line in this case. It's like the force field. It's going to get closer and closer and closer, but it will never actually touch it. So that is our asymptote. Okay, so make sure you get that example 3. That's our last graphing example for this learning target. Okay, we've got a couple of vocab words here. So growth and decay we've been talking about quite a bit, but we can actually look at an equation and see if it's going to grow or if it's going to decay. So if A is greater than 0, so that just means we're multiplying by something, and our B is greater than 1, then we've got a growth, and that means from left to right, it's going to rise. So it'll be going up a hill. Okay, you've got a couple blanks on your notes, so make sure you get those filled in. Okay. If it decays, then our B value, the base of our exponent, is going to be some kind of fraction or decimal. It's in between 0 and 1. So our graph will fall from left to right. So it'll be kind of flipped upside down, going downwards. And then our asymptote is a line that the curve approaches as it heads towards infinity. It will never touch the asymptote. Okay, so for these examples, we need to label our A and our B, and we're going to see if they are growth or decay. I'm going to do A and B, and then you're on your own for B and D. Okay, so for A, our A value is 1, and our B value, the base of the exponent, is 1/5. So we need to look at that 1/5 and say, is B going to be bigger than 1, or is it in between 0 and 1? And 1/5 is less than 1, so B is less than 1, so it is a decay. Okay. C, our A is 7, our B is 1.2. We need to see, is that B value, 1.2, in between 0 and 1, or is it bigger than 1? 1.2 is bigger than 1, so it is a growth. Okay, so now you need to work on your assignment, which again, if you lost your copy, I'll leave extra copies on the front table. You can do the entire thing now. When you're done, I have another video for you.